The silence of the royal palace is broken by screams. Emperor Janaka jerks awake to the sound of guards sprinting through the halls, shouting that the kingdom has been breached by an invading army. He dons his armor and rushes to the front lines, but the defense fails. Janaka's army is decimated, and he is dragged before the conquerors. Because royal blood cannot be spilled, he is stripped of his title and banished. The former ruler is forced to wander his own lands in tattered rags, covered in the dust of the roads. Days pass without a meal. His former subjects recognize him, but refuse him water, terrified of the new regime. At an ashram, Janaka stands in line for leftovers, begging the server to scrape the bottom of the pot for a single handful of rice. As he finally raises the bowl to his lips, a kite swoops down and knocks it from his hands. Janaka collapses into the dirt, weeping, asking for his life to end. In that moment, the hunger and the exhaustion are his total reality. His mind and body react as if the threat is physical, because in that state it is. Then Janaka suddenly gasps for air. He is back in his own bed, no rags and no enemy. He is drenched in sweat, his heart hammering against his ribs as his guards rush in to check on him. He is safe, but his mind remains on that dirt road. As the kingdom's doctors surround him to soothe his pulse, he ignores them. He stares at the ceiling, mumbling a single phrase, "Ye such, ya wo such." Is this true, or was that true? If a nightmare can simulate pain and loss so effectively that your brain accepts it as fact, how can you prove the world you are sitting in right now is a different category of reality than the dream you just left? Word of the king's state brings a sage named Ashtavakra to the palace. Rather than dismissing the dream, he applies a logical test to the emperor's experience. He asks Janaka, "When you were starving in the dust, were your army or your queen there with you?" Janaka whispers, "No, I was alone." Then the sage asks, "Does the pain from that dream exist right now, in this royal bedchamber?" Again, the king answers, "No." Ashtavakra notes that because neither state survives the transition to the other, neither can be the absolute truth. The waking world didn't exist in the dream, and the dream world has no weight in the waking state. To understand this, look at the 3 states of experience. First is the waking state, our functional interactive reality. Next, the dream state replaces it, a realm with its own locations and physics that feels entirely valid. Finally, deep sleep. Both worlds cease to exist, leaving no objects, subjects, or physical body. To explain what remains, Ashtavakra uses the metaphor of gold. Gold can be shaped into a necklace, bracelet, or ring. They look and serve different purposes. But remove the gold and the jewelry disappears. The shapes are temporary. The only reality is gold. In this philosophy, that gold is Turiya, or pure consciousness. It is the unchanging awareness that observes the waking world, projects the dream, and persists through deep sleep, without being altered by any of them. This leads to the Vedanta conclusion. If consciousness is the only permanent element across all states, then the world we see is mithya, or a projection. The Mandukya Upanishad argues that our daily lives are no more permanent than the dreams we have at night. This often raises a question. If life is a projection, why bother participating? If struggles are an illusion, why not just stop? The answer lies in the Sankhya philosophy of separateness. Realizing the world is a projection doesn't mean you stop living. It means you realize you are an actor playing a character, rather than the character itself. You can apply this logic to modern stress. When facing a difficult day or a personal loss, you can choose to observe the event from a distance. You adopt a different perspective. I am the awareness watching this stress unfold. I am not the character the stress is happening to. This isn't about being indifferent. It's about being free. When you aren't tethered to the outcome of the play, you can perform your roles as a partner or a professional with more focus and less fear. True calm isn't found by escaping the world, but by navigating its battles with the perspective of a king who knows he is finally awake.